Hey guys, Filament Forge here. In this video I'm going to be showing you how I 3D print and paint this awesome Captain America bust. Okay guys, the model's finished printing and it turned out really nice. There wasn't any support needed. I also I scaled this model up and I'm just going to measure it now. And it's about 17 inches tall, so it's a good size. There were a few problem areas, like underneath the chin and the top of the head. The finish wasn't that great, so I went and tidied them up. And I also sanded the base, or the shield, because I want that to be as smooth as possible. So we're going to jump straight into getting this model primed. And I get a lot of questions on what type of primer I use, and it's this one by U-Pol, High Build Primer, and I'll leave links in the description to where you can get it from. But I'll have to warn you, it is quite an expensive primer. But I think you get what you pay for. It gives you a really good finish once it's wet sanded. So I'm going to get it into my spray booth and get some coats on. Okay guys, so we've got 2 coats of high build primer on the model and it's now dry, but I'm seeing a lot of surface defects. You're probably not picking them up on camera, but I can see a lot of layer lines. So I'm going to wet sand it, and I'll be using 800 grit wet and dry sandpaper to do that. And once I've done it, I'll be giving it another 2 coats of high build primer, and you can repeat this process until you've got the finish you want. But I think just a one go will do the job. So I'm going to get set up outside and get cracking. Okay guys, I finished prepping the model, and we're ready to start getting some colour on. I'm going to be starting on the base first, and I'm going to be using Vallejo Model Air colours, red, white and blue. And I've taped off each section so I don't get any overspray on each separate colour. So I'm going to load up my gun now and we'll get cracking. Okay guys, we're finished with the base now, and we're going to move on to the upper body, and I'm going to use Vallejo Model Air Black just to go into all the crevices and do a bit of shading. And on the chest, the scale armor, I'm going to do that all in black. And I've also taped up areas that I don't want any black on, like the face, the eyes, and the star on the front of his chest. So I'm going to get my gun loaded up, and we'll get cracking. Okay guys, so we got the pre-shading done. Now I just want to do some highlighting. So I'm going to use Model Air White, and I'm just going to do it on the areas that are going to be blue. And on the chest, I'm just going to do the tips of all the scale armor, just to highlight them more. So I'll get my gun loaded up and we'll get cracking. Okay, so next up we're going to start adding some blue. Now for the chest armor, I'm going to use Model Air Metallic Arctic Blue, and then for the rest of the blue areas, the helmet, neck and the side of the body, I'm just going to use normal Model Air Blue. Okay guys, so we got all the blue on and it's starting to look quite good now. I am slightly unsure about the colour of the chest. The metallic blue that I put on pretty much covered up the shading and highlighting that I did with the black and white. So I might go back and redo that, I'm unsure at the moment. But I'm going to move on to the stomach area. So we're going to start on the red stripes first. And what I'll do is I'll do a base coat of whole red first. And then I'll highlight that with some white. And then I'll go over it with just some normal red. Okay, so we're moving on to the white parts now, and I'm going to do a base coat of cold grey, and then on top of that I'll highlight it with just some white, and then see how it looks. Okay guys, so we're going to move on to the straps now. The first thing I'm going to do is do a black base coat, and I'm just going to brush that on. And then once that's dried, I've got a selection of different shades of browns, and I'm going to apply that using a sponge and see how it looks. Okay guys, so I was going to try and do a leather effect with different shades of brown and using a sponge to apply it, but I think I came up with a better idea. I'm going to use straps, or webbing as it's known, and I've got here brown and black, which I managed to find off eBay, which I'll leave a link in the description so you can find it if you want to copy this idea. And what I'm going to do black and brown like that. And I've also bought some sliders, which I've got 4 of them, which will go up on top of his shoulders there. So the first thing I've got to do is prime these. So I've got some Vallejo surface primer, and I've lightly sanded them so the primer will stick better. And then once it's dried, I'm going to go over it with Game Air silver, and then I might go over it with a varnish, and we'll see how it looks. Okay guys, so we're going to move on to the white parts now. I'm going to start on the star and then move my way up to the A, and then I think I'll have to paint the wings by hand. So I'm going to start by doing just a little bit of shading with black, and then once that's gone on I'll go over it with a white and see how it looks. Okay guys, it's finally finished and I think it turned out great. I think the shoulder straps was a great idea, and I used a black wash on them just to darken them up a little bit and give them a bit more of a used look. I'm really happy with that. The skin tone might look a little bit bright, but that's just because of the bright lights I'm using. And I didn't film painting the eyeballs because I couldn't get a good camera angle and a good working angle at the same time, but they were really easy to do. The eyeballs have been modelled onto the model and they're really well detailed, so it was easy to do. The model can be found on Myminifactory by David Ostman, and he does some amazing work, so you should go check him out. And I'll leave a link in the description to the STL file and any supplies I used on this build. If you have any questions, then leave them below and I'll try and get back to you. If you haven't already, consider subscribing, and please give this video a like, and I will see you in the next build. Thanks for watching guys.